I'm just wondering where my picture is up there. They missed me. I don't know. But, hey, well, it's just so great to have you guys here. And so if you don't know, just sitting with me on the stage tonight, we have Corey Maggette from the Milwaukee Bucks. Yeah. And Jeremy Lin from the Golden State Warriors. And we have Helena Azubuike from the New York Knicks. And John Solomons from the Milwaukee Bucks. And these guys have just been incredible all week, hanging at the camp, helping with the kids, and just been so great to have you guys. So why don't we just start out with just some fun questions, but what do you think of Maui so far?
I love it.
Love it. All right. Jeremy?
I like it too. It's pretty hot. Sweating a lot.
Well, hey, I just wanted to first just start out, just ask a little bit, just questions about basketball and maybe where you grew up and some fun stories. Because I was just thinking about this on the drive over here. I mean, you get to play basketball for a job. That doesn't suck.
No, that's the best.
That's great.
Best.
So would you just tell us a little bit how you got started in basketball, kind of, what led you maybe journey to the NBA, a little bit like that?
My parents moved from Taiwan to America in the 1970s, and so they had never heard of basketball, but they started to watch when they got here. So I have two brothers, and we were all pretty much born with basketball in our hands, and we've been playing ever since we were young enough to hold a ball. And so from there, I started playing. I was 5'3" in my freshman year in high school, and I grew a foot in college, and so that helped me out a lot. And was able to play in college, which I hadn't anticipated, and then this year I just finished my rookie year, so it's been a fun ride so far.
That's great. I was just wondering, favorite pregame meal? I mean, if we're, we want to kind of get some tips, and we're getting ready to go out there. What favorite pregame meal?
I like steak and pasta.
Here's some. If you weren't playing basketball, what would you be doing?
I like nonprofit, which is a good reason for me to be here right now, in addition to the vacation. But I think I'd be
There's
working.
that.
Yeah, I'd be working in underprivileged communities. I'm not sure in what capacity, but that's something I want to do afterwards.
Hey, let's talk. I want to hear either funny or memorable basketball experience. It can be from college or the NBA, just kind of a funny memory experience. It can be you or a teammate or another team, or just something that we wouldn't see on SportsCenter.
I was a rookie, and I was one of those guys who wore a pink Tinkerbell backpack the whole year. And I think...
Is that your Facebook profile picture?
No, not quite. I keep that pretty far away. But everyone thought I had a daughter, and so they just kept asking me about my daughter, and I didn't know what they were talking about until I realized it was my backpack.
We'll talk a little more basketball, then we'll move on. But first, Mavs or Heat? Miami, okay.
Miami.
Whoa.
Mavs.
There you go.
I want the Mavs to win, but I don't think so.
Well, hey, maybe, I know you guys are so humble, but would you tell us maybe about one of your greatest basketball moments in college or the NBA?
For me, I played basketball at Harvard, so we didn't have too many memorable moments there.
But you got straight A's, right?
No, not even.
Oh, okay,
not
just
at Harvard. Just stepping onto an NBA court for the first time, I remember it was against the Clippers, and I couldn't even sleep that night. I was just like, wow, I made it. Yeah, I just had goosebumps the whole time, so that was probably my most memorable moment.
Well, if I know the little bit of time that I've got to spend with you guys this week and at the camp, I know in your life, there's basketball, but there's so much more than the game, and that's really faith in Jesus Christ and what He's done for you. And so I just thought it'd be, if you could share a little bit, what were maybe some of the things that led to you, putting your faith in Jesus Christ?
Well, I grew up in the church, and it was just something that my parents made me do, and I hold a church record for making the most Sunday school teachers cry. I've done that to 4 different people, and it's not something I'm proud of, but it really didn't make sense to me in the beginning, and I think it was about my freshman year in high school when I joined the youth group, and I realized this is what true fellowship, true community, and true love looks like, and that's when I realized, that there's something about Christians that separates them from the rest of the world, and from then on, I just continue to learn and grow, and this past year was a struggle in terms of getting playing time and getting on the court, and so my relationship with God was really deepened, and it was made more intimate just because of the tough times and learning to rely on Him and learning to submit my will to Him. And so, it's a struggle, but it gives me a lot of peace and it gives me purpose in my life.
But maybe a short story of how God has used you as a basketball player to help another person or to minister to someone or just anything like that.
In college, I was the only believer on my team, and so I remember getting made fun of the first 3 years there for being a Christian, and I was thinking and I would try to invite teammates to church, and it wouldn't work out, and I remember being really frustrated, and so my senior year, this guy who was discipling me, he was like, you should start a Bible study for your basketball team, and I was like, actually, 0 people will join. I was like, I've tried to invite people to church and talk to them, and it's not going to work. And he was like, just do it. And I was like, okay. So I asked him, and we actually had a couple studies, and there was 6 of them out there, and it was the people who had been making fun of me for the previous 3 years, and now we were reading the Bible together. And for me, it was just the more I try to rely on myself, I realize I can't do it. But when I kind of let go and let God work through me, like Kalena was saying, that's when you start to see, miracles.
What do you do to stay strong as a Christian, or what's a spiritual goal that you have in your life?
My bad. My dad gave me a bunch of sermons to take on the road because we travel a lot, and so that's been very helpful. Just sermons and different Christian books, and then obviously the Bible. But the sermons and the books, they're really targeted towards something that I may be struggling with, if it's grace or understanding a certain concept. And so for me to be able to explore it and then talk about it with my pastor, break it down with my small group when I get back in town, all that is very helpful. And I'm lucky to be able to play in my hometown, and so I get to go to my home church, and so that's been huge for me.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for being here tonight. Would you guys